going back to Cali, as Biggie Smalls once said. I'm out in California right now. We got Jake and John with us. John just got back from Canton. We are all over the place. 1 year ago, first episode of Sideline Sports. Welcome, guys. John, tell us about Canton. Let's start with that.
Yeah, Canton was great. The rest of Ohio that I visited is not. So let's just get that out of the way. Ohio, there's nothing there. It's trashy, a lot of bums. So I wouldn't recommend going to Ohio. We actually visited Cleveland, which was 15 minutes from our hotel. Trash everywhere. There's nothing to do there. Brown Stadium, not impressive. Progressive Field for the Indians, not impressive. So I wouldn't recommend going to Cleveland because it's an absolute dumpster fire. There's literally cops on every single street, like multiple cops every street. So I was like, why do you need cops on every street? Like, you don't really need that. So Cleveland was a bum fest. I wouldn't recommend going there. But I love Canton. I recommend going to Canton because that was a lot of fun. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is, you dream of what it is, dream of going there as a football fan, and it's even more than you could ever dream of. It's that amazing. You literally have everything you can think of when it comes to everything you can think of when it comes to being a football fan. Everything for everyone.
John,
they thought
out
of
of order. Out of order, because they're a fan.
I love Canton. What can I say?
They're all over. Our fans are all throughout Ohio, all throughout California, all throughout the great country and the world, John. So
Ohio is a bum fest, and there's nothing to do. And the only reason I was there is Canton. I wouldn't go back any other reason. Oh, I didn't visit Cincy. I'm sorry, I didn't visit Cincinnati. I'm sorry, I can't knock Cincinnati because I haven't been there.
They can watch us 7:30 on Tuesday nights.
Oh, well, they can watch us, but I meant like me visiting. It's not very fun. But I love Canton. It was a lot of fun.
I was seeing some of the stuff you did. Man, I wish I had been out there with you. I kept saying, man, you were having like a field day out there. You looked like a kid in a candy shop. My favorite was on Facebook. There's a picture of you and Dan Marino. I said, John must have lost his mind. As a Dolphins fan, he must have been out of his mind.
Yes, as a Dolphins fan, but I was a journalist trying to get a picture.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's not the nicest guy. I'll just leave it at that. Not the nicest guy, but it was cool meeting him. I mean, it was real cool meeting him. It's just not the nicest guy.
There's a reason they say, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah. But, I mean, Brian Dawkins was cool. Got to meet him. He walked by one of the events he was leaving, and all the fans were trying to want him to sign stuff, and he looked back and he saw me, and he's like, yo, dog! And he gave me a fist bump and stuff. So Brian Dawkins recognized me because we took a picture earlier in the day, and he saw me. So Brian Dawkins and I are cool. Charles Woods and I are cool. He's a really nice guy. Warren Moon, really nice guy. Terrell Davis. We got to interview Warren Moon and Terrell Davis. Andre Reed does not like me. Just a little fun fact. Does not like me. He likes Alex, but he doesn't like me.
Is there a reason he doesn't like you?
Well, I told him that I've been watching football since I was 2. So I was watching him when I was 2, and he called me out, which I don't like that.
I love him. Andre Reed is my hero. He is my hero.
He told me that I can't be watching football at 2 and watching him. He was like, "There's no way you could have remembered watching me at 2." And I was like, "Well, I didn't remember. I just remember watching football."
I didn't say I remembered watching you. I just said I was. That's like for me saying I watched the Yankees win World Series in 2001. Well, yeah, no duh, I did. I know because my father would have sat on the couch next to him and forced me to watch as a baby, whether I knew what was happening or not. Whether I remember it or not is a whole other story. I have no idea what happened.
Exactly. So Andre Reed wasn't a big fan of me, but we met Mel Blount. He was really cool. He's a really cool guy. We got to hang out with him for a while. John Randall. John Randall's hilarious. Kind of reminds me of the guy from Dodgeball, the assistant to Ben Stiller, Michelle or whatever. Kind of reminded me of him. He was really funny. He was like dancing and stuff. So we got to meet a bunch of different Hall of Famers and stuff like that. So it was a great time. I recommend going, as a football fan, as a journalist, it was still cool. I got to sit in the press box for both enshrinement ceremonies and, got to just I got to meet Zeke. I mean, I found my way into meeting Ezekiel Elliott. And we got
Gross.
He was a really nice guy. We got to chat for a little bit.
John, just for that, I'm sorry, but you are out of order. It's not personal. It's just I hate Zeke. I can't stand him. I'm sorry as a
Giant fan.
That's all.
As a Giant fan, I like Zeke. I'm pro Zeke. I could be out of order for that. I nominate myself to be out of order.
I'm sorry. As a Giants fan, that doesn't make sense. As a Giants fan, how do you like?
He's also a David Ortiz fan.
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
we're just gonna leave that.
You.
That's gross.
Listen, David, Big Poppy was good. I mean, but when he played the Yankees, I hope he did nothing. But other times, let him hit 50 homers. Who cares?
No, gross. I respected David Ortiz, but I was not a fan of his.
It's that California grass is getting to your mind.
It really.
I haven't visited I have not gone to the dispensaries as of yet. They are available. I recommend if you're into it, go ahead. It should be legal, but that's besides.
Like half of Calvin's speech was like about legalizing marijuana in the NFL, like allowing that to be something that players can turn to. It was crazy. That was like half of his speech was about that.
Well,
most of the players were about advocacy, though.
But it was crazy that he made half of his Hall of Fame speech about that.
Well, yeah. I'll be honest with you. As a person that thinks marijuana should be legal and the medicinal purposes of it, I think it's better than a lot of the different drugs that are given to football players. I mean, I think with anything, in moderation is okay. But would you rather them do that? They get a shot and they go back. And hurt themselves
that's actually that's what Calvin said. He said he actually admitted in his speech. He said he turned to plant-based things. He said plant-based things instead of actual. Yeah, he said instead of actual drugs because he said he didn't want to do that stuff. And he said that nobody would help him out in the NFL or the Lions. Nobody would help him out with, allowing him to do that stuff. So that way he didn't have to turn to like opioids and things like that. So, and the pain was too much. So he just retired. He got tired of having to dance around things.
That's what he said. I mean,
he did retire. He did retire early. And I remember when he retired, he was, at the top of his game. And he was hurt a few years in a row. But he was one of the best receivers out there.
He was.
I was able to talk to him before enshrinement on that week, a couple weeks ago when we had availability. Talk to him, and I asked him exactly that. Do you regret retiring early? And I will never forget what he said because it was. I remember him retiring, thinking he's retiring. This is like Andrew Luck retiring. It, when I look back at it now, it's like these are guys that are at the peak of their game. They're just, I'm done. He said he doesn't regret it because he knew his body was done. He just when he was out there, he knew he couldn't do anything more physically. Even if he wanted to, his body was saying, "I am done."
And I respect how well he
played. And I was just gonna say, I respect the heck out of that because I know people want him out there. And I know he wants to be out there, but at the same time, you got to do what's best for your body. And your body, you got to stop.
I'd rather him retire if that's what's best for him than force himself to play. For us or for money or whatever. Like, do what's best for you. By the way, got to give Alex Fleming a lot of credit because Alex Fleming was fantastic throughout the whole enshrinement week. He was fantastic. I can't take all the credit because Alex was amazing. He interviewed Terrell Davis. He interviewed Warren Moon. I was the cameraman. We really did a good job tag teaming this whole entire enshrinement week together. So I got to give Alex all the credit in the world. Alex Fleming. If you don't know him, check him out. Florida Sun. Check out his work because he does amazing things.
Friend of the show.
Yep.
Great guy.
Without a doubt, one of the best in the business. And proud to call him a friend and a friend of the show.
Absolutely. And I will say this because we touched on it. This is 1 year of the show, and I'd just like to point out that the three of us have done the following. We've covered a Super Bowl. We've been on radio in Atlanta. We have covered pro days. We've covered the NFL draft as a result of doing those pro days, in conjunction. Right? We've gone to the Hall of Fame. John physically went, and we also covered the Hall of Fame.
The entire week.
So much in 1 year. If you guys are not following Sideline Sports, I'm just telling you, I don't know what you're waiting for because
not only that.
This is 1 year. This is 1 year, though. I love this. Exactly. And we learned that John is a lunatic because our John, not John Mizek, but Jon Shearer, our co-host, is crazy because he likes everything well done. I mean, that's only year one, and that's what I want to get at.
By the way, Jon Mizek,
we have so much to do.
Steve Atwater is a super nice guy, and he is a monster in person. He looks like a monster in person, just so you know. So Atwater's awesome.
You forgot one thing about the Atlanta thing. The Atlanta thing, besides the regular show that you guys are all watching now,
this is true.
There was an NFL pregame show that aired every Sunday before every week of the NFL season, where yours truly won the betting pool. Thank you. We had a lot of fun.
I got one more thing that I'm now thinking about, and you bring it up. The next thing, we talked about it before the show. I'm going to start promoting it now because we might as well. And then we'll go into actual sports talk because I do want to cover the things that have happened over this past week. Last year, we had a league for our show, and we had a couple of fans, a couple of people that are on our network now. We're doing it again this year. And just a reminder, I was the winner last year. I am your champion. I'm the people's champion, and I will be again this year. This year, anybody watching, any fans, if you want to do fantasy football with myself, JB, and John, and again, lose to me because I will win again, of course. That's obvious. We already know that. I'm just saying I'm going to keep my title. I'm not losing it. If you guys want to play against us this year, we are looking to do a draft between the week of the 29th or the week after, which is the week of the 5th. Football starts on the 9th.
People.
On the 9th. 7 people. Write us into our email at sidelinesportsnet@gmail.com. Message us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you'll find us. It doesn't matter. Message us.
And you'll find that on the bottom of the scrolling screen going back and forth.
But tell us why you should be in the league because we want to know why you think you should play against us.
No.
Because again, like I said, I'm the champ.
No.
The champ.
Tell us why you finished second to JB Ellis. You're a future champion.
No. This is coming from the guy who drafted Zeke last year, and then everything, he said, I'm not going to draft Christian McCaffrey, which admittedly worked out, but you drafted Zeke and it didn't do much else.
To be fair, JB had nothing but bad luck with injuries last year. It was one thing after another.
It was a bad year, but you know what? Year two, number one. So if you guys want to play for second, come, please hop on the show. Send us a message. I will gladly beat you and take first place. That's really all I got to say.
All right.
So, by the way, this is year 2 for, like we said earlier, for Sideline Sports. I mean, year 1, all the things that Jake mentioned. I mean, in a year's time, covering all that stuff. Imagine what we're going to do in year 2. So you're going to want to stick with Sideline Sports because we have a lot bigger and better things coming to provide you with content-wise.
All right.
Lots of stuff going on.
Let's get to the real sports, gentlemen. Where would you like to start this week? Should we start with?
I'm gonna start. I think we go baseball first. Let's get baseball because all the other sports are kind of down right now. It's baseball season. I just want to point out the Yankees will make the wild card and make the ALCS right now. That put in our record that I said it now. Even with Rizzo getting COVID, and I love that pickup. Gallo being on the team, Garrett Cole, who's trash, and I don't like putting me on the record saying that as a Yankee fan. Don't like him, but with all the pieces we have, they will make the ALCS. That's as far as they're going to go. But before they made all these moves, they weren't making it anywhere. Right now,
how mad,
John? Put it on your calendar.
All right, how mad would you be if you lost to the Astros again? That'd be great. Well, I mean, then you'd have to question whether they are again.
I don't think that this is a World Series team.
Let me ask this question. How do we lose to them? What happens that causes us to lose? Because that's what I need to know. Because if it's what happened a couple years ago when Aroldis Chapman gave up a home run multiple times, multiple blown saves that happened, multiple years, multiple blown saves, I'm going to scream. If they lose,
but any loss to the Astros after what they did to you before would make it Yankees fans angry.
No, but if they legitimately lose a game, let's say it's game 6, they lose 3-2 in the 6th inning. That's when the winning run scores. Yeah. I'll be more okay with that because at least then Chapman didn't screw up again it will still hurt, but it'll hurt less. So
yeah, but when October comes, when October comes, if you're playing the Astros, you're gonna hate them like
of course,
like nobody's business.
But
listen, but
the difference is how
it comes
we lose.
down
that
to
will change. From my opinion, that'll change. If we lose like that, I'll be upset, especially.
I could go through the last postseason. The last postseason, we didn't hit. The hitting wasn't timely. The offense was just asleep. The pitching was really good, considering, we had Garrett Cole, the $40 million guy that doesn't throw a no-hitter. And I'm sorry, you get $40 million a year. This isn't the NBA. $40 million, I expect 0 hits. Zero. I make that clear. This is why I have no respect for him. He won the World Series. He changed his hat in the locker room. He took off the Astros hat when he won the World Series. And that was it.
Hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. This is funny, but this is even better. John knows that I'm going to call him out because that's out of order, and I love it. I'm still going to put it up because that hurt as a Yankees fan, but I also want to say I tip my hat for that one because for knowing you're out of order for saying that, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you made the comment and then knowing I said this and I should not have said it, but it was worth saying it.
Bailiff, hold him in contempt. Hold him in contempt, Bailiff.
I respect it.
No.
Back to what you were saying.
They need timely hitting. And that's been the problem. I mean, they went out and got lefty bats with playing in Yankee Stadium. They got the short right field porch. So they made their lineup a lot better. Rizzo is a great contact hitter, has some power. Gallo is a home run or bust guy who's pretty good defensively. He's got, better defensively than a lot of people give him credit for. So they made some great pickups, but I don't think they're winning at all. As a Yankee fan, I'm not looking to win the World Series with this team.
Either. No, I don't think.
But I think we're making the ALCS. I'm confident enough we have enough talent to get to the final rounds of the AL, and that'd be it. I mean, really, if you think about it, who is better than us in the AL besides the Astros? Is Boston better? Is Tampa Bay better?
Probably the Blue Jays, Tampa Bay, Boston.
Blue Jays won't make the playoffs, though. That's the good news. We won't have to worry about that.
I think they will.
I doubt it.
Blue Jays are gone. Boston's done. Tampa Bay is good, but again...
Boston's done? They just got Chris Sale back. How are they done?
And hold on.
They just got Chris Sale back.
I don't like agreeing with John, but I have to. They also got Kyle Schwarber at the deadline. Which
how are they done?
I understand that they need a lot of things in the fielding department right now. I would say that they need some help there, and Schwarber is not helping. But batting wise, Schwarber's pretty good last time I checked. Just saying.
So okay, let's talk about Boston. All right, what were they last year?
They were.
Look at the record. Look at the record for last year. Right.
But they're up
on
near the top of the division.
Yes. What was the difference between last year's team and this year's team?
I still am trying to figure that out.
Not much.
And they haven't even had Chris Sale this year, which is impressive.
They are going to regress. Do they think they make the playoffs? Yes. I think that, they may make a wild card. That's as far as they're going to go. Tampa Bay is going to win the division, unfortunately. Tampa Bay, another team that, for whatever reason, whatever they do at Tampa Bay, their front office, and we spoke about it last year, is phenomenal. They need to coach.
I have no idea how they do it.
It's basically Moneyball all over again, though. More or less, that's what it is. I'm seriously.
Didn't they get rid of their Cy Young pitcher who they pulled it in the World Series?
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, they did.
It's Moneyball.
Or whatever.
Why I say Moneyball is because of the fact that they just put players out on the field and they win, and I don't understand it. There's obvious analytics that, even though I don't agree with all of their analytics, as we just talked about the fact that Blake Snell came out. I did not agree with that. I thought that was one of the silliest moves I've ever seen. I will say it seems to work because they're still playing well. Their analytics, as dumb as that may have been, it seems to be working to some extent.
I believe I called the Rays win the division before the season, and you guys thought that was crazy.
I don't remember.
They're going to win the division, but that's going to be as far as they go. Because, again, with that offense, it's not going to happen. They're going to go against a good team. When you look at the way it's broken down, you got the White Sox are going to win the Central. The West, the West is a joke. You got the Astros. They're going to run away with it. Are the Rays going to beat the Astros?
Probably
not.
Really?
No. Will they play? Will they play each other? This depends
right
on.
Now, who knows? Right now, I don't know. We don't have the
I could look it up. Hold on.
But
I could tell you.
But it's all speculation right now because it could all change. We still got a month and a half to go.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the Astros are going to take care of Tampa, and if the Tampa Bay Rays play the White Sox, they're going to have a tough time.
Okay.
And when it's all said and done, it's going to be Yankees Stros, and unfortunately, the Stros are going to get through to the World Series again.
Right now,
or something miraculous happens.
Right now, the playoffs, if they started today, it would be White Sox versus Houston, Tampa versus the A's or Boston, and then the ALCS. It would again, assuming everything goes a certain way, it could be Houston versus Tampa. It could be. Again, that's also if the season ended right now today. Things can change as the season goes on. There's plenty of time left, but that would be what would happen at this very moment. And then again, though, that still depends. Would Houston end up playing Tampa, or does Tampa get knocked out? I doubt they would at this point based on those matchups, but
Listen, when it's all said and done, it's Yankees against the Astros to end the AL. And the Astros, unfortunately, are going to be playing the Dodgers at the end. Put it down on your calendar now. It's going to be a ratings bonanza for Fox because it's been a full season. The Astro hate is real. Who'll win? I don't know. But Tampa's a good team, but I don't see it happening. They caught lightning in a bottle last year.
By the way, JB looks like one of those people from the Italian Job that we're part of the money heist, and he got a large sum of money in the bank robbery that they pulled off, and then he went to California and he's retired.
It's like Goodfellas.
In this beautiful area,
that's what this is.
Some little island or whatever. That's what he looks like. He looked like he just got done the Italian Job, and he's like, "Yo, I'm just chilling with this large amount of money for the rest of my life coast." And that's what he looks like.
He looks like he's having fun. That's what it looks like. But
great weather. It's 9:00 on the East Coast. It's still daylight here. It's beautiful.
I know. That was the first thing I said to you when you got on. I go, "It's light out." I go, "What time is it?" I was so confused. But all right, back to what we're saying. I don't know about that. I don't know how far Tampa's going to go in general. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't know if they're going to get past the first round.
I can't doubt them because they always find a way to.
I know. I don't want to doubt them, but at the same time, I don't know. It's just something about them that I don't trust. And I said that last year. I know.
They don't have the big name. They don't have the big payroll. And you know what? Let them prove us wrong, because when it's all said and done, they lost last year. They're losers. And it's the way of sports. There's only one person or one team that can win. There's only one victor.
Right.
That doesn't mean that Tampa had a bad season. They were great. They got to the World Series, but overall they lost. And when it's all said and done this year, it's going to be Houston, LA.
We'll see.
I guess we'll see.
I'm picking LA to win. I mean, I know it's the obvious choice. Oh, they'll go back to back. It feels like the easy pick, but at the same time, I don't see anybody beating them. When they get Kershaw back, they will have Kershaw, Scherzer. Oh God, who am I missing? I'm totally blanking right now.
They have everybody.
No, pitching wise though.
No, they have everybody.
Walker Buehler.
Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. So that alone is just
enough to win a World Series right there.
Easy.
Just think about a 7-game series. You have to beat those guys 4 times. Those 3. In what country is that happening?
Even if
not in the USA.
I mean, let's say Scherzer starts game 1, you could start him again potentially by
game 4.
Even game. I was gonna say maybe even game 4. He may be.
You basically could roll with them. You could roll with them 3 to win a World Series, because the Yankees did in 2009 with 3 starting pitchers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just rotate them through to a World Series. That's what they did. It's possible.
Easily.
Yep.
And those
pitchers are horses. They can do it.
Kershaw,
say,
those are road
Scherzer,
warriors.
and Buehler are horses. So
absolutely.
Exactly.
I mean, I hate to pick them because it's so easy. Oh, they'll win again. But I also I can't find anybody else that I could say, yeah, they're going to beat them. Like before the season, I could have said the Padres had a chance before the trade deadline.
If they would have got Scherzer, yeah.
Without injuries.
If Scherzer doesn't get traded to anybody, he stays put.
No, but he was supposed to go to the Padres.
No, I know.
And then the Dodgers.
I'm saying before the trade deadline, before any of that, I still had the Padres have a chance over the Dodgers.
Right.
And the Dodgers
before injuries,
the rich got richer, and now it's just
Trey Turner,
Without injuries to the Padres, and they made the trades the Dodgers made, completely different. That's the difference.
Different story.
And now, I mean, if you break down the NL, you got the East, you got the Mets, Phillies, and Washington kind of all combined.
I don't see any of them going anywhere.
Washington,
it's like NFC.
Hang on,
yes.
Washington traded everybody. The Phillies overtook the Mets. And are you really afraid of the Mets? I mean, the Mets have pitching, so if they get hot and they make the playoffs, you do have to fear them a little bit with their pitching, and they have enough hitting to maybe scare you. They're the only ones in a weird sort of way that could maybe face the Dodgers and give them a little bit of scare, but are you really going to compare the Dodgers pitching staff to the Mets pitching staff?
Scare is not the right word. They're not going to scare them.
They're just going to
give them a minor challenge. Just a
right. Exactly.
It'll be so minimal that it won't matter because the pitching matchups won't match up ever.
Then you go to the Central. You got Milwaukee. All right. The Cardinals and Cubs are done. The Cubs traded away everybody. Bryant, who was out at San Francisco, Rizzo with the Yanks, and Baez with the Mets. They left Contreras by himself on an island. They're done.
Baez is – I saw something. Baez is like Will Smith in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when he's alone in the house, in the room. All the stuff is moved out. He's just standing on the carpet by himself. That's Baez right now. He's just alone and nobody is anywhere in sight.
Exactly. The Cardinals were built to win this year, and they're not winning, so they're done.
No.
So who else in the Central's got nobody else? I mean, it's Milwaukee's division. And Milwaukee's not good enough to scare anybody.
The Reds have played pretty decently this year.
But the Reds aren't going to win the division. They're not even going to make the playoffs. So then you go. You go out west.
I know what he means.
The Giants did what they had to do with the Bryant trade. That was a good move. Do they have enough pitching to be consistent or to challenge the Dodgers? We still got a month and a half to go in this season. The Giants are hoping for a wild card. They're hoping for a wild card if I'm a Giant fan.
They look good. But they are a pretender by all means. Like I hate to say it like that, but they're playing well in the regular season, and I know they look good. But once the playoff comes, they have to play real teams in the playoffs that have legitimate experience, especially a team like the Dodgers. They have how many World Series champions on that team? I mean, not just from the team that they started the season with from last year, but guys they got traded for that know what it takes. Guys that have played in their careers for a long time, especially like Kershaw and Scherzer. Good luck. You're not beating either one of them. It's not going to happen.
No, it's over.
So they're just count them off.
And the AL, it's kind of the same with Houston. If you go through the AL, you want to say Tampa Bay and the Yankees has a shot. You really going to say the White Sox?
No.
Sit here.
You have to give them an opportunity to. They played really well all year. So you have to give them a
San
chance.
Francisco, and I don't believe in them either.
I mean, the White Sox, I got to give them a chance. I don't know what they're going to do.
The AL runs through Houston. There's no argument for any of the World Series except for AL and the Dodgers. This is why we play the games. I don't necessarily say it has to be that way, but logically on paper, there's no other World Series matchup that's out there. I can't make a legitimate argument for it right now. On August 10th. I would love to. As a Yankee fan, I would love to tell you why getting Rizzo and Gallo makes us the number one seed in the AL. It doesn't.
It's going to kill your prospects.
Yeah.
No, they actually didn't give away too much, so they actually got away lucky with it. They still have some good prospects in the
They kept
minors.
most of their top 10, I think. I don't know if they dipped into I think they may have dipped into the top 10, but most of them didn't get traded. And yeah, he's right. But I will say this, there's a difference, and I'm going to tell you why. Last year for the NHL was not the regular divisions. the Canadians in a regular division would have never even sniffed the playoffs.
Nope.
So while John is right to have said that, it's not entirely the same because these are our regular divisions. Those were mixed up divisions where really I don't know any of those teams were great. And if you're going to have multiple teams from that division alone, you're going to have the Oilers, who I thought had a chance, and the Canucks, and then everybody else I thought was a toss-up. So
right.
Someone had to make it. I mean, the Jets were probably the number 3 team, but even still, like, I don't trust them that much. I didn't trust any of the teams, maybe besides the Oilers. That was it. So somebody had to make it. So I hate to discredit that, but let's be real. They had to make it.
And you have to look at it this way. We're talking about on paper. I mean, on paper, there's no argument for any other team but LA and Houston.
Oh, no.
I don't care what anybody says. So giving you a legitimate argument on August 10th of why I think any other team will get there is out there. Why I think
that's how they play the game.
ALCS. Right, of course. And why I think the Yankees will make the ALCS because the moves they made. They have just enough pitching. They improved their hitting to give them left-handers for the home games. And they got quality bats who they took back. And who else is in the AL? I mean, the White Sox just don't scare me. I would love to sit here and say Tony La Russa is going to run to Magic like he used to at St. Louis or Oakland. I don't see it. I don't see that with this White Sox team.
That's why they play the games.
Of course, John.
I agree with John, though. I mean, we'll see.
So there's a lot of football news, by the way.
Of course.
It came down
Let's get
today.
to the NFL.
Let's go.
What happened in the NFL?
Yeah. So apparently, according to Ian Rappaport, Michael Thomas has requested a trade. So that's gigantic. Apparently. That's what he's saying. We haven't officially seen a statement that he requested a trade, but according to Ian Rappaport, he is requesting a trade. So that's gigantic.
Insider things.
Yeah.
So the Giants should go after him because we don't have enough receivers, right? We drafted
Kenny Galladay's hurt already.
I know.
Well, it was an inside joke between me and Jake, being a Giant fans, how we have this
it's
obsession
kind of like
with wide
the Angels
receivers.
who drafted all pitchers this year. Same thing. We just grab as many of the same position, in our case, wide receivers as we can, because why? We'll never have enough. Dave Gettleman just wants $1 million. He wants $1 million. That's all.
By the way, John Mizek, since you've been commenting, make sure you go and check out our Terrell Davis interview if you haven't already, because Terrell Davis, cool guy. Check that out.
TD.
Yeah. TD is a really nice guy. He's really cool. He's a monster. He looks like he can still play football.
I loved it. He was on the bike the whole time, though. I didn't think he broke a sweat. I mean, granted, you only got to talk to him for a couple minutes, but still, he was like, I'm good. I don't even feel it. Like, it's nothing to him.
He signed some autographs for the first, couple minutes, and then he was like, I'm done. He stopped signing autographs. He just took pictures from there on out. People were coming up, and they're like, oh, I need an autograph. And he's like, guy's like, no, he's done.
He's like, I'm sorry.
He doesn't want to sign anymore. He chose not to.
Fair enough.
The guy's like, why not? He's like, that's just what he wants.
So anyway,
don't argue with Terrell Davis.
Back to the news of Michael Thomas, though.
Yeah, Michael Thomas has requested a trade. Rashad Bateman is hurt with a groin injury already for the Ravens, which is big. I know he can recover and stuff like that, which he will. Right now, he's week to week. He probably will make the week 1. It's big, though, because he's going to miss all of preseason. He's a rookie.
As a rookie, that hurts. It's not
the rest of training camp, all of practices.
That's a big injury.
That's a lot of rapport. It's a lot of rapport. Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams or one of those guys where it's like, we could miss all this time. It means nothing because you play with us all the time. You know how we do it. Just put us out there. We're fine. That's going to hurt for Lamar.
That's a lot of reps to miss.
He's going to be that's going to hurt.
And then the Chiefs, Laurent, the doctor from last year, I said Duvernay Tardif. He suffered a broken hand. So right now he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Not sure if he's going to make the week 1 yet, but remember he didn't play football last year because he opted out. So he's going to he missed all of last year's training camp, all last year's preseason, all the practices, all the season. He's going to miss the rest of training camp, all preseason practices. So that's a long time.
That's a lot of stuff
between him playing football. The last time, and then next time he's going to play is going to be in the regular season this year. So it's like that's a lot of time missed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got one more thing for you. Go ahead, JB.
No, I mean, the preseason is fascinating with the injuries and things, but even now, the NFL preseason is just too long.
It's a joke.
I just want to get to the games.
I'm curious how. Well, you were talking preseason. I'm curious what game this year is the game where the starters play, because usually it's week 3 in the preseason with 4 games. So what game is it going to be now that there's only 3? I've been wondering that.
I know some players are not going to play at all. I mean, I know I hate to bring them up because it's always the guy that comes up, but it's been announced that Aaron Rodgers is not going to play the entire preseason and Jordan Love will be the quarterback, and that's fine. I agree with I get the decision. I'm okay with it. You got a veteran like him. I mean, Tom Brady, even Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, all those guys. They played enough football now in the league that they don't necessarily need that.
But what about guys? What about guys like Dalton and Justin Fields who need their time to play?
They're players that should play.
Players that are new to teams, rookies, things like that.
I think those are guys that honestly they should play in 2 or 3 of the games, and they should play at least a quarter of each game.
Yeah, how do they do that this year? I guess is what I'm curious.
They can week 2. That's my guess. And then what game?
Go on.
The last game is usually when you want to rest everyone, and you kind of want to look at who you want to keep for those last spots.
The bubble game, yeah.
I think week 1, you try and use them for maybe a quarter and a half. Week 2, maybe ramp it up to the first half of the game, and then week 3, maybe you throw them out there for a couple plays. Yeah, maybe a series. And then that's it. I think that's what you got to do. I mean, I think it's important for those guys to get out there. I think for the Bears, that's a good example. Andy Dalton, I think between him and Justin Fields, exactly, there you go. So I think between them, I think at least a quarter and a half each for the first game. So it doesn't matter what order. I don't really care personally, but just get them out there. Whoever your week 1 starter is, put them out with the first team, of course. First quarter, maybe first quarter and a half. The next guy play the second half of that quarter possibly, and then play the third quarter and call it a game for him, and then just do whatever. And then the last game, you probably do half a game for each. So first half, second half for each of them, just to get them out there because
I don't think they play game 3 at all. I think game 3 is the last 2 guys you want on your roster.
So that's the bubble game, right?
Yeah, that at least that's
why I say maybe a series.
Look at it
maybe you just put them out for a series just to keep them a little loose. That's it.
Going from 4 to 3, that's the way I would look at it, because that's the way it used to be. You kind of just forget the second game. You go game 1, game 3, game 4. Game 2 kind of disappeared in the whole segment, basically.
Yep.
Right. I mean, I know it's a little different because it's one less game. I get it.
But it makes a difference for how these teams are going to construct their rosters. Because, I mean, these role players, these gems you find are going to help you win a Super Bowl. They're important players.
Those are the guys that are affected by this most. It's not your starters. Yep. Your starters, this means nothing to them. Whether they play game 1, game 2, game 3, that means nothing. It means your guy who's playing on, special teams, your guy who's playing who's coming into, on a defensive scheme or an offensive scheme. Those are the guys that matter.
I agree. So we'll see.
I cannot wait, though. We're getting close.
Hey,
so John Mizik says some undrafted free agents can be better than first round bums. He's not referring to Cleveland Brown fans, although they are bums, but he is referring to first round bums that are drafted in the draft.
Listen, we have a lot of fans that own the Ohio region, especially Cleveland. We're not going to bash them.
They should comment and tune in and direct their hate towards me. Bring it on. But make sure you tune in and watch and comment so that way you can direct that hate towards me while the show is happening. You only get an hour and a half every once a week on Tuesday night, so take advantage of that.
So
Cleveland, you better represent. I'm defending Cleveland here. This in itself is scary. So all you Cleveland folk better step up and go after John here.
As long as you're not defending Baker Mayfield, can't defend that guy. Game manager.
You know what?
Oh,
I still,
stop it.
to this day,
glorified game manager.
Don't say it.
To this day, it's still the guy I wanted the Giants to get rather than Daniel Jones, even though it was a different year. That draft and the Giants got hurt twice in that draft.
All right, I'll agree
always
with
tell that story.
Simmons is my new favorite person. LOL, Cleveland.
We cannot get Baker because he was the number 1 pick, and then I wanted Lamar, and the Patriots, as usual, do everything to mess up the Giants.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, you took Barkley in that draft, too, which hasn't quite panned out.
And we're wasting his career, as I've stated multiple times to anybody that knows me. The poor man's career will be wasted.
Yep.
Well, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. Just at least, mention it. Barkley looks like he's going to be back hopefully soon. He's back on the field. So anybody that's paying attention, I know we mentioned fantasy football. I'm saying it now. Fantasy football talk will start to begin on this show a little bit more because obviously we're going to have a league. And more importantly, fantasy football is coming up because starting this weekend, we get our first preseason action. And from this weekend on all the way through February, we are going to have football every single week, and I cannot wait, and I am so happy about that.
By the way, we have no more Sundays without football. No more Sundays.
That's what I'm saying.
This past Sunday was the last one without football.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're getting football back.
Sunday fun day, guys.
It's the best day of the week.
Sunday fun day.
Now you got Monday, Thursday, Sunday all back.
You're out of order, John Mizek. IDP leagues, you're out of order. Out of order. I'm sorry, but
I got you.
Listen.
Thank you.
Second place is available if you want in the league. Send your notes to.
You are absolutely right. I will
One.
crush you all.
As long as nobody hands you a trade this year.
What?
So as long as nobody hands you a trade this year.
Hey, we didn't get I did not hand a
with
trade.
Jake and John for second place.
No, thank you. I'm keeping this up for JB right now because JB, you gave up last year, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So you can't even talk. You can't even talk.
I can talk. I knew it was done.
No.
I knew it was done. And sometimes you got to pull the plug like the Cubs. Cubs, a perfect example. They knew they were done. They turned away all their pieces, and they're going to build. I knew my season was done. I knew I couldn't win.
He's going to build in a redraft league.
This year, I'm going to win it all.
No shot.
Come January, we'll see the banner on the screen. JB Ellis, fantasy football champion.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely.
We'll have to have some bets on this.
I will go back to back. I promise. I'm saying it now.
We'll have to have Raphael on again so that way he can bring up the prop bets.
He can make some prop bets. Exactly.
And the money
bets for our league.
The money line for all this.
Now we're talking. You guys.
That's important.
You guys talked an awful lot about cornhole. We guys talked an awful lot about cornhole, but I haven't seen any more video footage that you guys are taking this seriously. I haven't heard any dates.
Busy. I was in Canton for a week, so I've been busy.
You gotta give John. I give John a pass.
John was a little bit busy.
That's what losers say. Winners say, "Let's go, let's do this."
Yes, losers say they were busy in Canton covering the Pro Football Hall of Fame for a week.
He's a real loser for that one. You know what, JB? If he's a loser, I want to be a loser too because that is a great excuse.
Ah, man.
Now
back to football. Back to football though.
Dang! It sucked. It sucked hanging out with Chris Berman. Being face to face with Chris Berman.
Hey, I saw all the video. I saw the interviews. I saw the video. I saw the pictures. It was horrible. And I appreciate you doing it for the show.
Yes, we appreciate
I do it for the fans. I do it for the fans because we love our fans. So we want to bring them live Hall of Fame content.
Back to football, though. Michael Thomas, he wants to be traded. Do we see him getting traded? Where do we think he's going? What's going on? What do you think?
Slant man, Santa Claus, whatever you want to call him. I don't know. Maybe he should be. I guess they don't do that Total Divas on WWE anymore, do they? So maybe Michael Thomas would be on there.
He'd be a good fit, right?
Where would he fit in? You know
with all the other divas.
Philly hasn't had a good receiver in ages.
Look, John Misick, you're out of order again. I mean, one more and you're gonna get a game misconduct. That's two.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's getting traded. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's just smoke and mirrors.
New Orleans ain't going nowhere. They're going nowhere.
No, but I think it's a bunch of BS. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think it's nothing. He hasn't come out and asked for a trade.
His boy Drew is done. His boy Drew is done. He wants out. I don't blame him. Time to find a new home. I think Philly would be a great spot for him. I don't know if Philly has anything to give up for him, but I could see, Philly has always needed that receiver. They haven't had that since T.O. There were
Devontae Smith has already hurt. Yeah.
There were weeks that me, you, and John could have played number one receiver for the Eagles. Okay, and we would have been better than what they had on the roster. So put a good receiver
pretty good
on
back
that team.
In my day when I was a younger lad.
John, even today, with how you are, we could have been better than the number one receiver many weeks. So I don't know. I mean, I could see a team like Philly. Where else would he fit? Give me some other good spots.
I don't see him getting traded at all. That's why I say what I say, because I don't think he's going anywhere.
Do you think that a team like Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers could try and pull the trigger on something like that? I mean, they're going all in on Aaron Rodgers, so
no.
I don't get the whole Green Bay saga. I don't see them doing anything. I see Green Bay playing a game of chicken like they did with Aaron. We're not going to do anything. Aaron's
it worked in
not
their
do
favor.
Aaron played. Oh, we're going to forget about everything and play football.
They traded for Randall Cobb. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, they traded for Randall Cobb, and the GM said, I didn't trade for him because we wanted him. Trade for him because that's what Rodgers wanted. That's not a good sign.
Let's go outside T.O. and a couple other old guys, too. Get out of here. That was a useless signing.
It was to make him happy. That's all.
By the way,
yeah,
I have a question. Once we're done talking about Michael Thomas, I have a question.
What do you got?
Yes.
All right. How does Calvin Johnson get in? First attempt, first ballot Hall of Famer. Love Calvin Johnson. I don't think he's first ballot as a receiver. I don't. He got in first ballot, but T.O. did not get in on his first try. T.O. has better stats all the way around. Personality shouldn't matter. It's about
But it does. It's the media. It's the media.
No, I know,
personality matters.
But T.O. was a better receiver in his career. He was a better receiver than Calvin Johnson. I mean, his stats kill Calvin Johnson.
Barry Bonds has the greatest numbers in all of baseball.
Oh,
never still on the Hall of Fame. So
he
can't go anywhere.
The cheater.
No, it wasn't against the rules of baseball, so he didn't cheat. He broke the law. He didn't cheat. Completely different.
Broke the law.
True.
I don't respect people who break the laws.
Right.
Anyway, T.O.'s a better receiver than Calvin Johnson. Just my opinion, but I would put T.O. top 5. I'm not giving Calvin top 5. Calvin only played 9 seasons. I can't put him top 5 as a receiver all the time. I just can't.
I would debate that, though, based on, I think when you look at their careers, Johnson
T.O. kills him in stats.
No, I don't. But hold on. I think when you take away, if you put them on 9 seasons apiece, Johnson is better. Now, I understand I'm not making that my entire argument, but I'm just saying Johnson in his 9 years was nearly, in terms of certain stats, as good as Terrell Owens. And Owens played almost double his career, probably, I think. How many seasons did Owens play? I don't recall.
So Owens has
14,
72 more touchdowns than Calvin Johnson.
Okay, that's fine.
72 more touchdowns.
I think
Calvin only has 84. T.O. has 156, which is 5th all time.
Okay, but we're gonna have to go with touchdowns. Touchdowns are a skewed number. We talked about Julio Jones on this show many times.
156 is a damn good number of touchdowns.
How many touchdowns did you say Calvin has?
84.
Okay. I just wanted to call. That's fine. Because I'm pulling up the stats now and I didn't see it yet. That's fine.
Yep, go on.
So you can't go by touchdowns, even though that's an impressive number. Touchdowns are subjective.
If you're fifth all time, you have to add that in. That's impressive.
I mean,
that you're against the best. Yes, he should be first ballot.
John Mysick saying exactly what I said. Jon Mysick is not out of order.
He's one of the best receivers to ever play the game. Top 5.
I love T.O.
Top 5.
I think T.O. gets little respect and he deserves more.
He deserves more respect, than what he gets. It's because of what he did, attitude-wise, but that shouldn't take away from how amazing he was as a receiver.
But that's the way the Hall of Fame is because it's subjective.
No, I know.
You're asking the media to vote on it. All the media isn't like Jake, yourself, and I.
No, I know. They said a million times that not only are you voted in based on your stats, but they also said you're voted in based on what you are as a man. That's what they said a million times. Though,
this is a stat you may not see, but on average, Johnson, again, he played less games. So all these numbers, take with a grain of salt, please. He averaged about 10 more yards per game. Now, again, I'm saying that why. I say take a grain of salt with that because
T.O. also played
a lot more games. So I'm saying take that with a grain of salt for what you will, but it's one stat that Johnson beats him in, but it's also he played much less football overall.
Yeah,
so
T.O. also played.
Stat. No, it's a skewed stat. It's a very skewed stat, so I understand that. I'm just saying.
So somebody said T.O. had 95 touchdowns in 9 seasons, which is more than Calvin Johnson.
Agreed.
Yes.
That's 11 more than Calvin.
Look at today's generation. Julio Jones is by far one of the best receivers in the NFL and should be a Hall of Famer eventually when he retires. You're going to tell me that Julio Jones – you're going to tell me Julio Jones isn't good because he doesn't get the touchdown numbers? Because he doesn't in Atlanta. When he was in Atlanta, he didn't get the touchdowns. He should have more.
That's one of my knocks on him is that he doesn't score touchdowns. That's one of my knocks on him, and that's his fault. He needs to find a way to get into the end zone. That's your job is to get first, get into the end zone, things like that. As part of your job as a receiver.
We agree that Julio right now is Hall of Famer, though, right?
Yes, right. Yes. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. Stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of the same thing. You're comparing some numbers that are hard to mitigate. Also, great thing. Detroit was horrible for so many years. So
that's true.
You also had Barry Sanders who got a lot of the touches when Calvin was there.
Calvin and Barry weren't there at the same time.
No,
they were not.
Okay, my bad.
The other thing I will say this, though, anyway. I'll say this. I just did some quick math. In 9 seasons, Johnson had more receiving yards than T.O. Now, that doesn't – I understand T.O. over his career had more. And, again, all of these stats I'm giving are skewed. If they both played 9 seasons, just to give reference, it doesn't change anything. But I'm just saying – all I'm saying is in those 9 seasons, Johnson was better in certain categories. The other thing is – I think Johnson has something that T.O. didn't, which was the personality, which we've talked about. Like that is, I know it shouldn't count, but it does, and it's just.
But I just look at it as a football player, not as you know what I mean. I mean, no, yes, it does matter. It does matter overall.
It shouldn't matter about it. It should be about his play on the field.
Yes, that's what I see it as.
I agree.
But it does matter when you look at a player. I get it.
Of course.
What he did as a team player to help the team. I get that. But also when you go to the Hall of Fame, it should be a culmination of your stats. And if T.O. is a top 5 receiver in basically every stat, how is he not already in? Even if you don't put him first ballot. Yeah, even if he's not first ballot. You can make an argument for that. He should be in.
John, it's his personality. People don't like him because
it's like it took Isaac Bruce this long to get in. How? Isaac Bruce is one of the best receivers of all time, and it took him this long to get in. How? What are you waiting on? I get it. There's other people in line, but Isaac Bruce is one of the greatest to ever play the game at the receiver position. I know people don't give him the credit. They don't think about Isaac Bruce when they think about all-time greats, but he was second all-time in receiving whenever he retired. Second in receiving yards all time when he retired. Now he's 5th because people have passed him, but he was second when he retired next to Jerry Rice. People don't think about Isaac Bruce when they think about the all time with the best of the best, but you should. And he should have been in sooner. So
also
exactly.
And that was something that they were talking about a lot at the Hall of Fame, like to the people being inducted and enshrinees, and they were talking about the process. And a lot of these guys, the coaches and the players, thought that the process needs a change. Like
absolutely,
there needs to be a way to get they don't put assistant coaches in. I didn't know that. No assistant coaches ever gotten in. They don't put them in, which is stupid. There's a lot of amazing assistant coaches. The process really does need to be tweaked, not changed necessarily, but just tweaked. Assistant coaches need to be able to get in, maybe their own wing, because they do a lot for the game. There's a lot that I learned about the game personally at the Hall of Fame. A lot that I learned about assistant coaches.
Steve Spagnuolo, and it just happens to be Giants, but it's just because it's a recent great defense. Giants beat Tom Brady, right? You beat him twice, but especially when they're undefeated, of course they deserve some credit. Now, I'm not advocating for him to go into the Hall of Fame. That's not the point. But
no, I know what
that's proof that, of course, they do something because he dialed up a game that crushed him. This year, Todd Bowles, he dialed up a fantastic game, and that's one of the many reasons Tampa won this year. Now, of course, there's other reasons, but he had an incredible game. He played phenomenal, and Mahomes was crushed. And I understand you look at him as head coach, and he was not good when he was in New York.
No.
I get it, but it doesn't take away what he did this season. So those
but
are
he
just
wouldn't go in.
examples.
If he went in, he wouldn't go in as a head coach. He would go in as a coordinator, if that would be the case. Which, I mean, what he did for the 2 Giant Super Bowls,
absolutely.
if you put him in, I wouldn't be opposed to it because those are historic wins.
Those are his story, though.
Yeah, you beat the undefeated Patriots. Like, that has to have some place in the Hall of Fame. Even if he doesn't get in, that has to have some place.
Of course.
Whether a game ball or something. It's not in there. I didn't see anything about Steve Spagnuolo in my time in there. So
no. All right, I got something. We brought it up 2 weeks ago. John, I would have brought it up last week, but I forgot, I admit. But also, you were driving, and we couldn't talk to you for most of the show, which is okay. It's all good. Yeah. Hey, you were going to Canton. It's all good. That was important. That was a big deal.
Don't worry.
But
this time next year, you guys will be there too.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We brought it up, and we never got to answer the question. The best sports movie or our favorite sports movie. We brought it up. We teased it, and then we totally skipped on it last week. So we got to answer the question of what the best sports movie in each of our opinions is.
Well, it has to be broken down into by sport because it's not fair to say just one sports movie is the greatest because hockey has a lot of great ones. Baseball does.
I have a list anyway. So
each sport really does have a lot of great ones. So which sport do you want me to answer?
Well, why don't we answer them all? I have a list for all 4. Would you have one for all 4?
All right. So I have my favorite football one. I have my favorite baseball. You're not gonna probably like my baseball one. A lot of people think it's cheesy, but
let's go football. Let's start football.
All right. Well, let's say football for last because that's the biggest and the best. All right,
that's the creme de la creme.
Yeah, it's the creme de la creme. Yeah. So what is your favorite? Yeah.
Hockey or basketball? Your call.
We can go hockey. I mean, it's got to be the Mighty Ducks, right? I mean, I grew up watching the Mighty Ducks. I know you're gonna say Goon probably, but I got to go with Mighty Ducks. I mean, I grew up on that. Emilio Estevez, all them guys. I grew up.
I love the Mighty Ducks, but there's only, for me, it's nostalgia partially. There's only one movie that can top it, and it's Miracle on Ice. Oh, that movie is Miracle is so fantastic.
I'm not knocking your choice.
That movie will always hold a special place in my heart.
But as youngsters, for JB and I, the Ducks.
Quack,
I mean, you
quack.
just
That's a great movie.
Yeah, quack, quack, quack.
V,
Knuckle Puck.
The best.
Yep, Knuckle Puck. Yep.
I love that. Trust me. There's nothing wrong with that.
Ash Brothers. Yep.
No, that's another. I'm not knocking it. That's my number 2 in hockey. No question.
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be right up there.
Basketball.
All right, so basketball.
Why don't we start with
JB, please. JB's a basketball guy.
Favorite basketball.
So
he mentioned Slapshot, by the way.
I'm going to go college blue chips. Nick Nolte, Shaq, Anthony Hardaway.
Okay.
Great movie. Great movie.
Not where I was thinking you'd go, but I like it. I am going
phenomenal movie.
Similar route. Hoosiers. Phenomenal movie.
Hoosiers is another great movie.
I happen to be going a similar route though. Love it. For me, top, no question.
All right, so there are some honorable mentions I'm going to give first. Like Mike, I loved that movie when I was a kid. Honorable mention. White Men Can't Jump. Honorable mention to that. But my personal favorite, which beats both of yours, Coach Carter. That's my favorite basketball movie of all time.
Great movie.
That's good too.
Absolutely love Coach Carter. I don't think anything beats Coach Carter. I love everything about that movie.
I could watch any of the movies we mentioned and watch them all day and not have a problem with it. But Blue Chips was entertaining.
I'll throw out another one. It's not as good as ours, I admit, but for nostalgia, it's got to be up there. Space Jam, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
look, it's its own category. I think it doesn't like I wouldn't.
It was great for its time,
but it's its own category, really. But just you look back on that movie. I know we've talked about it. It is so bad, but so good all at once, and it's why I love it. Like look back and it's stupid, but it's so good all at once. I love it.
Did you guys?
This was a great movie.
Great movie.
Did you enjoy Like Mike? Did you guys either of you ever watch that? It was a little Bow Wow.
That was a good movie, John.
Yeah, that was a solid movie. Yeah.
I can watch any of the movies we mentioned all day and not have a problem with it because they're all great movies.
All right, now mine's going to be controversial because a lot of people, baseball-wise, they for some reason don't like this movie. It's my personal favorite. Field of Dreams is my personal favorite. Everybody I talk to says it's cheesy. Everybody says it's cheesy.
Yeah, but it's a classic.
It's a classic, and I love James Earl Jones, and I like Kevin Costner. I think he does a great job. It's my favorite baseball movie of all time.
Honorable mention. Movie the best.
42 is an honorable mention.
That's an honorable mention. That's
good
fine.
Movies.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jake. I'm going to go last on this one.
I got honorable mentions. Field of Dreams is up there. 42 is up there. Those are both great. Major League, somebody put in the chat.
Of course.
A great movie. All great. Moneyball is up there as my honorable mention. I almost made my number one, but I got to give it to The Sandlot. That movie is just so fantastic.
That, yes, of course, a classic.
I mean, you're killing me, Smalls. I have a shirt of that. I have shirts. I have socks of that. With that quote, I'm not kidding.
Of course.
I love that movie. It's hands down my favorite. Your choices were good. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think you get any better than that.
I also forgot to mention Mr. 3000 was a pretty solid movie. Better than I thought it was going to be. Not a great movie. A lot better than I thought it was going to be. I just wanted to throw that out there before JB.
Completely agree with this. Completely. I don't know how you don't like Field of Dreams. I don't know.
I'm going to go way back. My favorite baseball movie, probably a movie you guys never heard of, Tiger Town. Similar to Angels in the Outfield. Similar type movie, but with the Tigers back in the 80s, a Disney movie. Then Angels in the Outfield. Of course, Field of Dreams is classic. How can anyone not like that? I mean, if you don't like Field of Dreams, you don't like baseball. If you build it, they will come. You know, where James Earl Jones goes into the corn bush. You can't not love that. Mr. 3000 was hysterical.
It was. I thought it was going to be dumb. I actually liked it.
The Natural was a great baseball movie. There's so many great baseball movies. Major League.
A League of Their Own. That's another good one. Very good.
Another great movie.
Like
hell of a nomination right there.
It gets forgotten sometimes, I feel like. But that's another good one.
Yeah, there's so many.
If Chris Lahiff, or however you say his name, if he was on trial, I would be like, you know what? You win the case. You're good to go. Drop the case. Case dismissed. You walk out of the court right now. You're a free man. That just for that comment. No out of order for him. No out of order for him.
So far, all good answers. All right.
Hold on. What's an overrated baseball movie before we move on to football? Do you have one over? Because I kind of think The Rookie is overrated. I kind of think The Rookie's overrated.
I don't like The Rookie. No, I'm not a fan.
I don't know. I
Henry
don't know if I have an
Road Gardner.
overrated one.
I kind of thought it was a little bit too cheesy for my taste and overrated. Gets too much credit.
All right.
Not a
Football. We'll start with JB. Best or favorite football movie?
So my favorite football movie, The Program. See, I like the college type
of course,
movies.
Works for the program.
I'm so disappointed.
But no, think
about
it. You got, what was that dude's name? I forget his name, but he was the guy who was on steroids. He picked up the girl. The whole movie was phenomenal.
Barry
I love
Bonds?
the college. Hey, leave Barry alone. Barry did not break the rules.
Romanowski?
Barry Hulk?
Are you talking about John Myzick's Bill Romanowski?
No, Lattimore, where he picked up the girl by the neck. Just a great movie. Also, Varsity Blues was another great.
That's a good one.
Football movie. There's so many. I mean, remember.
I'll tell you what, Chris knows his stuff. Chris knows his stuff.
All right, John. Football movie. What do you got?
I'll go last. I would prefer to go last. I have one that'll knock your socks off.
This was hard because there's some good ones. I'll give an honorable mention to The Blind Side because that is such a sad but good movie. I mean, that was a hard one to watch just because of the story, but it was very good. But there's no competition because this is my favorite sports movie of all time, let alone my favorite football movie. And when we asked our favorite sports movie, this was number one, undefeated. Remember the Titans. That movie I have watched more times than I can count. Yep. I know it like the back of my hand. It is best movie. It is. I love that movie. Cannot beat it. Just Denzel Washington is beyond fantastic in that movie. I mean,
Yes.
I can't even begin to tell. He is amazing. It was probably one of the first movies I think I've ever seen when I was a kid with him in it. I've loved him ever since. He crushes everything about the movie. The message behind it is still applicable today, which is why I love it so much. It's not only just a good sports movie, but the message is so impactful. I love it. It goes beyond the sport, which I appreciate, but it does it in the right ways that it's not all about beyond the sport, but it's just enough to get a message across, but be a fantastic movie.
All right, so I want to give honorable mention for a football movie that nobody's mentioned, and I love this movie. Maybe you guys don't. Radio with Cuba Gooding Jr. I think that's an underrated movie that not a lot of people talk about when it comes to a really good football movie. So my favorite of all time, absolutely fell in love with this movie the first and the 15 times I've watched it, Gridiron Gang with The Rock. That's my favorite football movie of all time. Absolutely love everything The Rock brings in that movie, the message he brings in that movie. If you haven't seen Gridiron Gang, you need to check it out because you'll fall in love with that movie too. Jake, you sound like you haven't seen this movie.
I admit I haven't.
It's one of the best football movies, if not the best football movie I've ever seen. And I love Remember the Titans. I love Gridiron Gang just as much as I love Remember the Titans. So you got to watch Gridiron Gang with The Rock. Because, what about, I mean, we also forgot to mention, I mean, there's Adam Sandler's, the original Longest Yard.
I was just going to say Longest Yard. That was my other shout out.
Both Longest Yards, The Water Boy. Yeah.
There's so many.
Do you guys have a favorite obscure sport movie? Like, not football, not baseball. It could be soccer could count. I mean, that's not obscure enough, but I could count that. I could put that as a non-main sport movie. NASCAR. I don't know if there's any other sports that you could think of. It's not your typical sports movie. And when I say that, it's not your four main sports that we normally cover. But do you have one? Because I have one. That's why I bring this question up.
Oh, we forgot to mention Little Giants and Any Given Sunday. Those are two good ones.
There are so many good ones. We can go on all day just on that.
Yeah.
All right. So if you don't, but I got it. If you don't have, does anybody have like a non-top four sport movie? Not
JP?
Not those four sports that we normally talk about. Any other sport?
Of course.
So the obvious great movie that's not a top sport. I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now. With Will Ferrell.
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights.
Yes, Ricky Bobby.
That's my boy. Because that's the movie I'm thinking. Because I love that movie.
That movie. That is
JB,
hysterical.
a little shake and bake. That movie is a classic.
Yes.
That was why I brought it up, because I felt that needed its own category. That's not main sport, but that movie is special.
No.
It's a classic.
Classic.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love Talladega Nights?
It's great.
It was great in every sense of the word.
Ballot of Ricky
Will
Bobby.
Ferrell has
definitely first, your last.
He reinvented his career with that and Step Brothers, because his career was kind of dead for a while after Saturday Night Live. But
Anchorman was amazing. Whoa! Let's not.
But that
knock Anchorman.
Stop. That wasn't his movie though. Great movie, but not his movie.
How's that not his movie?
He was a small player in that.
Hold on. I liked you, but now this is just rude. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Space Jam is a basketball movie. And Talladega Nights.
And Talladega Nights is
John Mysak, you're out of order.
They're both everybody's for those comments. I mean, come on.
Hey,
how are those not sports movies?
Classics.
Well, getting back to Will Ferrell, he did play every position in the Cactus League during spring training a few years back on one day in Arizona.
I'll never forget that.
That's so great.
That was great. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. John, you know who I think he should replace?
He should be in over Barry Bonds.
No, he should replace your favorite, Harold Baines.
Yes, I would be all for that.
I would put Will Ferrell in.
Yes, I would be all for that.
See?
You are
good movie.
Completely correct on that.
My Boy Blue.
Another great movie. Old school. Oh, that's
yes.
The list goes on with that man. He is special. Everything he touches almost guaranteed.
Yes, but
is to be good.
But he wasn't the main one in Old School either. So, he was one of the top, but he wasn't, that was like a
I don't know.
Anchorman, I think, is his movie.
It doesn't count as a sports movie, but technically they were doing it for the Olympics, kind of. Beer Fest. It's not a sports movie, but technically they were doing it for the USA. Technically, it was like they were doing it for the Olympics. I know it's not a sports movie, but I love Beer Fest. That's a great movie.
I'll allow it.
It's a great movie. Just saying. I was trying to think of things that were had to kind of do with sports, and you said it was kind of zany and not one of the main four sports.
And this is upsetting to me too.
Dodgeball. Dodgeball's amazing. That's a sport.
Don't you know if you can dodge a ball, you can dodge a wrench?
Yeah, classic.
Great. Yes. And that's another non-main sport great movie.
Yeah, who doesn't love dodgeball? Blades of Glory. Blades of Glory was pretty funny. It wasn't a great movie, but it's pretty funny.
It was good. It was still good.
Even though it's basketball, I personally liked the basketball, the semi-pro or whatever that Will Ferrell did.
That's
I
great.
personally thought that was funny.
I wasn't a fan of that one.
Jackie Moon,
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, me and Jackie Moon, not a fan.
That movie's a little how do I say this nicely? It's a little interesting. We'll call it that. They say some dicey things in that movie, though.
Yes.
So it's a good movie, but watch at your own risk. They're a little bit dicey.
I personally didn't like Balls of Fury. I guess it was about ping pong or whatever. Table tennis. Okay. I didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't care for it. No. I was trying to think of movies that were the non-four sports.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that movie.
Talladega Nights is my number one. But Dodgeball was
I got to agree with you on that.
Dodgeball has to be my number one. I mean,
that's a good choice.
Just
solid choice.
Classic. Yeah.
So
Dodgeball is a great movie. I can't argue.
Back to real sports now. I had to bring that up. That had to be talked about because we teased it. We have to actually do it. JB, basketball. What's going on? Because there's at least one story I know worth talking about. But I'll give you the floor.
So obviously the U.S. wins the Olympic gold. Shocker, guys. Are anyone surprised? Anyone care?
No,
I don't care.
It was funny though that we trashed them, made fun of them for all that, right? And then they got win gold. I mean,
it wasn't impressive in that. In the least bit.
Because you realize the story is only if they don't win. There's no story of them winning. Them winning is expected.
It's like Tom Brady being in the Super Bowl. There's no story if he wins anymore. It's only the story if
when he loses. Yeah.
Right. I agree.
As a Yankee fan, Jake, this is perfect. When we had the Subway Series, we played the Mets.
Yeah.
We lose to the Mets. It's a story.
Yeah, it's a story.
We beat the Mets. We won.
We did our job.
It's nothing,
Exactly.
So but the NBA is getting ready for another season. Which story are you looking at, Jake?
Well, Ben Simmons is still 76, so their asking price is just beyond stupid. But not that. Dennis Schroeder is signing with the Celtics, and I'm not sure what went through this guy's head, because when you look at the money he's taking, I really don't understand what happened. He was like, all right, I'm going to go out. I'm going to get an $80 million deal. And then he got not even $6 million a year.
He wanted more, and he turned that down.
He turned down the contract. I think it was with the Lakers. And then once he did that, there was nobody else that wanted him. He messed up.
You know what he did? He pulled a Le'Veon Bell. He said, I'm holding out for more money, and then didn't do anything. It accomplished nothing. When you look at it.
You got to know.
Le'Veon Bell says, I'm going to get more money. Goes to the Jets for the same amount of money and did nothing. It accomplished nothing.
I think it was less.
He ruined his career.
Yeah.
What?
He ruined his career.
Absolutely.
He lost a year's worth of salary. A year's worth of salary lost. And he came back to play for the Jets, which is might as well,
he might as well not play.
That was a death sentence for his career.
That's worse than going to the Cardinals. Going to the Cardinals used to be one of the worst death sentences you could have ever
That and going to the Chiefs and looking bad on a team like the Chiefs, that kills it for you.
It doesn't do him any good.
Because if you can't do good on the Chiefs, you can't do good anywhere.
No, not at all. Yeah. But
I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
he screwed
Schroeder,
up.
I think, thought he made a mistake not taking the deal in LA, and there's nothing he can do about it.
I mean, it's not my problem, but if you're going to hold out like that, you got to get money for it. You can't screw up. And he just.
But that's the problem. The NFL's a different animal than the NBA. Schroeder didn't estimate the market. Bell was a complete mistake because
of course.
Once you were out, the NFL
but I'm talking about
has
Schroeder. Schroeder just screwed up. Schroeder just whatever.
It's a
the
shame.
Other one.
You see a guy do that, it's just sad.
The other story that I'm surprised you haven't told us, Luka. He's making big money.
He's making
making real man money now. Now I hate to say it, I know it sounds stupid. He's earning his money and he deserves it. 5 years, $270 million Supermax. Yeah, but good for him.
He deserved it.
He deserved to be paid. And what I liked most,
I'm happy for him, but
Mark Cuban went out to where was he? I don't remember. Wherever he was. He went out to Luka. Luka was not in the States. Whatever.
He went to Slovenia.
That's where he was. That's where he was. Mark Cuban went out to him to get him to sign the contract. I love that.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but I appreciate that. Like, you want your superstar to be happy. Yeah. Right. But that's a sign of respect that we want you back. So I'm going to come out to you. I'm going to get you the contract.
Yeah.
We're going to sign it. We're going to call it done and just finish this because we're going to get you paid because you deserve to be paid. I love that. Exactly. Not enough players get that respect, and that made me so happy. I was like, you know what? Good for Luka. He's made a name for himself in the NBA, of course. He is one of the premier stars in the league now. Good for him to go get that. And then to have his owner go out and get him his money, good for him. Good for him. He deserved it.
Yeah.
He deserves that. I like that.
I agree.
And it sets the market for the other guys, though, because I'm telling you, between him and Trae Young, they're setting the market for the young stars. They have both been paid.
I mean, they got the max contract, so you can't really get any more than that.
No, but I'm saying it sets the market, meaning that those guys that are like him as they come up are going to earn those max contracts. They're going to require.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It's not. We can just hand you off with a little money and call it a day.
No,
they're setting that, and that's good.
But they both deserved it.
They did.
They both deserved it without a doubt. There was no question about that.
I agree. But I love that. I love that Cuban was going out and said, "I got you.
Yeah,
let me get you your money."
Respect.
I love that.
All about respect.
Well, there's not enough of that these days in the leagues. The owners think that they literally own these players. A lot of them do that.
Exactly.
So I like that, but otherwise, there's not much. I don't have anything. NHL was pretty quiet.
Kind of the dog days of summer going on. I mean, we got baseball and we got off-season everything. The NFL just starting. The next couple of weeks are going to be fun.
Preseason this weekend, yeah.
Yeah. The next couple of weeks are going to start to get fun because we're going to have college and NFL back, and then
absolutely.
End of September, beginning of October, we're going to be back to everything.
Basically everything.
Stick with us now. You never know where we're going to be going forward.
And don't forget, we are having our fantasy league. So just another reminder, write us in on our email, which is sidelinesportsnet@gmail.com. Contact us through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you think you can find any of us. Tell us why you should be in the league and why you're ready to lose to any of us, specifically me, because I'm the reigning champ and I will win again. That's fine. Just write us in. I like this. If you want to do that, that's fine. I like that. That's fine.
Just remember, if you want, tell us why you want to be in second to JB, and you'll be fine. I'll accept that as a.
Okay, JB. So, anything else, guys?
Nope.
No, that's it.
All right.
So let's go through what we can find, everybody. John, go ahead.
There you go.
You can find me on the Sports Arena Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's Eric Wilson, Alex Fleming, Mike Caratanudo, Megan Price, and Ty Ray of the 3-point conversion. So you're going to want to check me out there. Obviously, Tuesday nights here, Sideline Sports, the best place, most important place, the most important face. Bluehawks13 on Twitter. And then you can find me on cardiaccane.com, writing articles on there. And never know where else. So just keep
point, you never know
Pro
where
Football Hall of Fame. Maybe next year, if you go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the only good thing in Ohio, which is Canton, you can come visit there and see me.
Oh, John, you are just terrible. JB.
No, I'm not Cleveland.
What do you got, JB?
So coast to coast, obviously coast to coast out in Cali right now. Be back at the East Coast. Be somewhere in the central part of the country before you know it. Everywhere there's something going on, JB's there, just like the rest of Sideline Sports. But follow me on Twitter, JB_the program. The program will be back with new episodes any week now. We got some things recorded already. The NFL Carousel covering the Chargers. Produced the NBA Carousel, which just wrapped up last week. That'll be back for season 2. You never know where you're going to find us. We're all over the place. I expect you're following, obviously. Jake?
Find me here on Sideline Sports every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And more importantly, you can find Sideline Sports everywhere you go. Instagram and Twitter at Sideline Sport 1. YouTube and Facebook, Sideline Sports. We have a group, and we now have a page set up for Sideline Sports. So check both out. Make sure you're in the group where you can kind of interact with us on a more personal basis. And then the page where we're just going to have information about us. We'll be promoting the league for fantasy football, all that kind of stuff. We are everywhere. We are on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Basically, everywhere you can think, you'll find us. And anywhere you look, you might find us at this point. We're just everywhere. It's just inevitable. That's all right.
Sorry to interrupt. I did forget I have with John Misa coming up, covering the NFC East, talking about the Giants. I always forget, John. I apologize with so much going on. But excited to do that. John, one of our loyal followers, watches us every week. The great Bronco fan, does great work as well. Excited to do that coming up next week.
And just a reminder, this is exactly 1 year of us three working together. As you've seen, we do a lot. It's only year 1, so I'm just going to leave you guys with this. If you're not following us into year 2, I don't know what you're waiting for, because I don't know.
What more could you want? Super Bowl coverage?
What more could you want?
Conference championship coverage? Pro days? Pro Football Hall of Fame? I mean, if you love sports, if you love the NFL, I mean, you don't get much better coverage than what we're bringing you.
Look at this face. How could you not want to look at this every week?
If you're not following, you're out of order.
All right. Anything else, though?
That's
I think
so. Thank you, everybody that commented and tuned in. We appreciate that.
thank you for all the support in our first year of us being together. We appreciate you guys. We really do. We couldn't do this without all our fans. So to all of you, thank you. And we'll see you next week. Everybody, have a good night. Have a good week.
Night, guys.